welcome to Kayla's World. I'm Kayla Canoe, author, YouTuber, gamer, and aerialist, and today's video is all about publishing a web novel series on Tapas. So if you guys didn't already know, I started publishing a web novel series on Tapas called Project Infinity, and I started that I think like a month and a half ago, maybe. And obviously, the link to that web series is linked below if you guys want to check it out. It is boy love, it is sci fi. Um, yeah. Anyway, so I started publishing on Tapas because I wanted to have something out there in the world that was published and free to read, and I also figured it was worth checking out Tapas as far as um, having a site where I could monetize, kind of like how you can monetize on YouTube. Um, and I just wanted to see how it went, kind of an experiment and whatnot. So, as far as publishing on Tapas, I guess a little bit of a how to, more or less, what I did, because I did have to do a little bit of research on the things that I needed for Tapas. Now, mind you, I was already a avid reader on the platform, so Tapas was not a new platform for me. I read a lot of boy love comics, and I've read some boy love novels now. Mostly big into the comics though, but I've already been on the platform, so I already knew the site and all that good stuff. So I kind of knew how things were laid out as far as like the thumbnails and um, book covers and art and all that stuff that goes into your um, web novel, web comic that you post. So I guess just a little bit of, we'll start from there. If you're going to publish a web novel, web comic, setting up the series is the first thing that you will do. Now, you do have to have an actual computer or desktop, laptop, whatnot, in order to publish onto Tapas. You can't do it on your phone, I'm pretty sure. It's only on the computer. So I did struggle at first. It wasn't very obvious on how to get to the publishing part, but basically you would log into your account and select the publish option to be able to publish. And there are two options on there. One is obviously the comics, which are the art comic strips, and the other one is novels, which I have found that some people do post comic strips as novels, but for this designation, the novels is more of the written word, which is what we're looking for here because we're writing novels. And I actually had a hard time getting mine set up, and I am not the only one, apparently, because I found some other people on Reddit and whatnot who were having the same issue where when you go to set up your series, you select it as a web novel, and then you go to actually add content to it, and for whatever reason, even though it says web novel, it's actually a comic, and so it's wanting you to upload a digital file versus just putting the text in there. And basically, the only way to fix that is to just delete it and try again. Um, so yeah, when you're creating your series, make sure that it is in the right format that you want, because you might have to delete it and recreate the series, because sometimes I guess it's just bugged, and instead of creating a novel series, even though it says novel series, it created a comic series. So that was fun. Some other advice, so there are graphics that go along with your web series. Obviously, the big one being the book cover, which is kind of like the main icon, I guess. So there's several different digital art that you can have on your series. I don't think that they're required, but I would do it because it's going to advertise your series better. It's going to look a little bit more professional if you actually have, there's a banner, and I'm going to go ahead and give you the sizes for these, so that way if you guys are creating them, because I created mine on GIMP actually, but really you can just use whatever um, you know, design program you want to use. I used GIMP because it's free and I like things that are free. Um, but anyway, so you're going to want a thumbnail for the series, which is also the same as the thumbnails per episode, which you can have different thumbnails for each episode. Um, the thumbnail size is 300 pixels by 300 pixels. You're also going to want the book cover, which is going to be the main, it looks like a little book on the screen for it, which is 960 pixels by 1440 pixels. And then there's going to be a banner, which I don't think you really see on the mobile app. Like, I think if people are reading on the mobile app, they don't ever really see that banner. But if they're on the computer, the banner comes up with like the with the book cover on top of it, and the book cover is situated like to the left of the banner, so like the book cover is there and the banner is behind it. So when you create your banner, make sure that your text and stuff is located in a place where it's not being covered up by the book cover on the site. So you do want to be a little bit strategic about what you're placing on there. Anyway, the banner is 128 pixels by 460 pixels. And again, that's something that you're really only going to see on the computer if people are reading on the computer. And you can actually attach a link to it. I linked my Patreon page to it, so if people click on my banner, it directly takes them to my Patreon page. You could like link your website or whatever you want on there. In your banner, it probably says you should probably add something like click here to see Patreon, etc., whatever you want to put there. And then what else is there? So there is also at the bottom, it's called an ad banner. And this ad banner is actually the little image. If you guys use Tapas, you'll know what this is. It is the little image that comes up at the end of your episodes. And so it's basically at the end of every episode, and it's your way of like advertising. So most of the time, what I see on there is people use the same thing, and it's going to be an image that's, you know, thanks for reading, some sort of thank you to your audience. I mean, you don't have to, but that's kind of generally what a lot of people do. Will be like, you know, thanks for reading, thanks for your support, you know, check me out over on Patreon, get early access over on Patreon. That's kind of your way to promote whatever it is that you want to promote at the end of each episode. So when people read it, it's at the bottom. And that image is 280 pixels by 180 pixels, so it's small. So you're not gonna be able to put a whole lot on there, but it's definitely worth at least thanking your readers. If not, adding a link to your Patreon or website or whatever, you know, platform it is that you're wanting to direct people to get in touch with you. I linked my Patreon to that because, yeah. And then I think that's it for like the digital images that you're going to want to have created before you start publishing, so that way you have your actual series set up. So thumbnail, book cover, banner, ad banner, and then obviously you're going to want to have a description if you're doing a web novel series. Kind of like, it ranges in how detailed people are on these as far as I can tell, but you probably want just like an in general bit of a description. There's also tags, so you can use tags for your series. You only get 10, so pick the 10 that fit best. Obviously, I did a boy love series, so my tags are going to be, you know, BL, gay, boys love, I think science fiction, and maybe experimentation or something, LGBTQ. I don't remember what all of mine are, but they were all specific towards my story, and it is kind of a sci-fi boy love, and it's a little bit darker. But yeah, so pick out your tags, use your tags. You can change them at any time, so It's not a huge deal if they're not the perfect tags first go around because you can change them. But yeah, so description, your digital art, you're gonna have your tags, and then you have to do your episodes. So once you get the series set up, you'll have a dashboard for publishing, and you'll be able to just add new episodes to the series. And it's actually really easy, surprisingly. Like, you just add it, you put in your title, you put the words in there. I copy paste straight from my Word document after I have a final version, and I just paste it in there, and it looks good. I actually use different thumbnails for the episodes than I am using for the actual web series. And so the thumbnail in the web series is the one that they're going to see more. That's the one that, like, when people subscribe, it's going to show up in their list. It's going to be the one that's on the series. And so, like, when new episodes go up, they'll go upwards, appear in the upper left-hand corner of that image. So be aware of that the words up may cover up something if it's in that upper left-hand corner. But that is on the little thumbnail, and that is what will show up on people's actual list when they subscribe to your series. So just be aware of that when you're creating your art. And then if they click on it, they'll see the episode list, and next to each episode there is a thumbnail. If you don't upload a thumbnail for it, it will default to the thumbnail that is for the actual series. I use thumbnails for mine. It's very similar to the actual one for the series, but it is slightly different. And I actually now have 2 different thumbnails because I am doing 2 different perspectives. So I have one thumbnail for one of my characters' perspectives, and I have a different thumbnail when it's in the other person's perspective, and that's just more for clarity for the readers because I am doing multiple perspectives. So that way when they see the thumbnail, they're like, oh, okay, so that's one perspective, or whatnot. So that is what I did on mine. So far, I think that Tapas has been pretty easy to use. I haven't had any issues. It's got the scheduling option, so you can upload a couple episodes ahead of time and schedule them to post on the day that you want to post. As far as tips, I highly recommend picking a consistent uploading schedule. The more consistent you are, the better, and I know that this goes for a lot of things when it comes to being a writer and growing your platform. Consistency is key. I upload all of mine on noon, or I think it might be like 12:01. The timing on the time that it lets you select is kind of weird, but I upload mine at noon on Sundays every single week, and as far as I can tell, my growth has been pretty consistent. I only have... Sorry, my cat wants to be in this. I only have about... I think I have 5 episodes published now, and I have 49 subscribers, so that's almost like 10 subscribers per episode. I think I got over 300 views. Honestly, I'm not sure what the growth rate for Tapas is. Like, I don't know if that's typical or if that's doing well or not, but I'm extremely happy with it. And I'm extremely happy with Tapas, which of course I was a Tapas reader beforehand. And if you're not, I recommend before publishing, maybe do some reading on there to see what other people are doing before you publish. But yeah, so I think that's all I have. If you guys have any questions in regards to publishing on Tapas, or my experiences with publishing on Tapas, or why I published on Tapas, feel free to leave those questions in the comments below. If you guys like these types of videos, let me know. Give this video a like and subscribe to my channel. I put out new videos on Mondays, and you can get early access to all of my YouTube videos by becoming one of my patrons over on Patreon, and that is linked below. That also includes early access to my Project Infinity episodes. Over on Patreon, you get early access to all the things that I do, as well as some special goodies. So check that out if you guys are interested. Um, if you want to stay up to date on everything that I'm doing, when it's coming out, especially in regards to my books, subscribe to my newsletter. It is linked below. It is over on my website. You can find it. It's there. Subscribe to it, and you'll see everything that I'm doing for every month. It's only monthly, so it's not going to be all spammy or anything like that. But if you want to make sure that you're getting all the information straight from me, subscribe to that newsletter. And that is all I have for you guys today. Thank you guys for watching, and I hope you enjoyed your time here in Kayla's World.